They did it. 2G stole Loud's map pick. And man, I am really impressed with LZ, how he called this first half. I wanted to break down when they came back. They were down so bad. They grinded back to 4-4 from this moment. And let's check out this round right here. It just shows how simple they kept it, right? So off the barrier, you can see all these pings coming towards Rubble, right? What they're asking for is an Omen smoke here. They're asking for a Breach Aftershock in this corner, and the Teo missiles will be in this box. Now, what that does, it acts almost like a magnet towards this smoke, and Kao and Zine just falls right into it. I love how they send the Yoru out early round. They show all of this presence. You can see the Yoru ends up going out long right now, and that's Askia. He's getting the info. He's causing counter util to come through from Loud. And what they're doing right now is they're trying to claim back the ground. This is a good play by Loud. They're throwing the C's, which is an information piece, and some could net a kill. In addition to that, they're also using the Breach Aftershock all the way from door to pair with this C's. Now, immediately, LZ says, come back, Yoru. They come back, and they're actually attempting a re-hit on it after they get the spam kill. So like I was saying, they almost forced Kao and Zine into the middle. There was nowhere to play on the extremities. They get the kill on Kao and Zine through the smoke, and they're planning on actually resettling right now and testing the waters. And this is where, again, LZ makes another great read. They use the Teo drone to clear out this angle, but with it, you can see he has the Omen blind. The paranoia is out right there. So when they shoot the Teo drone, the Omen blind comes out, and counter util does come out, and that lets LZ know 2 more players are here at A. So the reaction immediately comes out. They go towards C. The dimensional drift is popped, and Askia catches himself, pops the clone, finds the trip, spots the 2 players at C. From that moment, they all play a really good post plant. They get a mount plant in. It feels crazy. It feels like I can't even believe how well 2G actually played this map. They're ready for anyone to spam from waterfall. You can see this Vice ready to swing with someone from top site. They're understanding all of the things that could have punished them. And they close out the round with this great Teo ult that forces Loud to save. And that actually got them this second round. What a great call by LZ, and I wanted to go over that, but let's go back to the desk with Zoe and Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean, what world are we living in? What alternate universe? What is happening? Welcome back, everyone. Not to the desk, but to a wall. And some absolutely baffled analysts here. I mean, this was close, right? Like, they traded a lot. Loud. DGC, he tried his very best, okay? He tried to drag them over the finish line. Like, he got those entry frags. Like, he was trying.
He ultimately was the man bringing them the overwhelming percentage of the kills for the team. The first kill to first death stat is crazy. Yeah, how do you lose? Drops 30+ kills on the map. His neon has been outrageous. I like that Loud have pivoted to that as the agent. He's going to be playing pretty prevalently, getting into stage 1 here. The rest of the team, frankly, individually couldn't pick up the slack against a 2G that were playing loose like we wanted to see. Their individuals were taking risks, taking fights, letting the confidence flow, and it was only DGC shooting back.
And that's what you would expect the caliber of Loud player to be able to just shoot back, right? If 2G is willing to play loose and take these fights, you expect Loud to sit them in those moments.
I mean, I don't want to harp too much just on the simplest part of the game, who's shooting who, but with how well Kao and Zine has been playing so far this year, he really just had a dud game. I mean, it being exploited again by this willingness to fight from 2G.
Yeah, and the guy on the screen with their DG was keeping them in it. Like, he was keeping the aggression. That was a 200 damage around game. And they lost.
But maybe that's what caught Loud off guard, right? Like, 2G coming in, no fear, no worries. They were vibing, they were having fun, just like you guys requested, and they took those risks. And sometimes they worked it worked out for them, and sometimes it did not. Let's actually hear what STK has to say ahead of Map 2.
I'm here with SDK before their next matchup, looking at how Map 1 went so close, but it seems like you're playing against a team that's just vibing with no pressure. How does Loud reorganize to fight against that?
I think that we need to understand that they have like the best performance that they have since they like joined America. So we need to focus on ourselves, play better on Pearl, and things are going to be like on our way this time.
All right, thank you, SDK. Good luck.
And the question is, how do you reset your mental? When you know you're coming into this the favorite, like every single map should be a must-win. No. The fact that it's even just close.
It's not just a favorite though, so it is a regional map. This is like the lowest team in Brazil from their perspective versus like the pedigree. Loud. This is supposedly.
But Loud already lost in their last meeting.
Yeah, but this is different.
This is much different.
This is Lil Bro punching up right now, big time.
You still, you still didn't answer the question. How do you recover? How do you reset your mental?
Oh, it's going to be hard. I think they have to come out with like a very aggressive energy. They have to show 2G they're not afraid to take these fights now. And on Pearl, I think that's a great map to do it, right? You're going to get these extremity fights at A main and at B long quite a bit. And I'm looking for DG again to keep that aggression up, not falter away here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to put too much pressure on just that one solo guy, but I have major concerns if he starts to fade at this point because it doesn't look like the other players are picking up the slack right now.
Yeah, they gotta wake up. All the players need to be on the server. We're heading over to Pearl. This is gonna be the map pick of 2G. And Loud, they have a good track record in Kickoff tournament on it. I think they went 1-1. We don't really have any footage, obviously, on 2G, especially not on this iteration of the roster since they just formed a day ago.
Yeah, I would love to see Loud continue with the Neon. We're seeing Neon get into the Pearl meta more as time has gone on with the map being reintroduced. Continue to lean into dishes in on that agent. Let him carry you to the victory this time.
Yeah, and I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth, but 2G is up 1-0. Can they close it out on Pearl? We'll find out right after this.
Now, it might seem like this is a really early point to be having this discussion, but when you look at a team like Loud and then you start thinking about playoffs potential here in Stage 1, this is a must-win game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're losing to 2G after you had that series kind of flipped on its head versus Crew, you start things off 0-2. Only 5 other teams in your group, right? Like, your back is going to be against the wall because these stages move so quickly. And now we're headed into 2G's map pick.
Again, Pearl is going to be up next on the docket. If you just joined us, a pretty wild series, and like so we said, can't believe she's saying it, but 2G are up in this game. Their first map pick comes after bringing PXS out of relative obscurity, onto this team to replace their vocal leader, Zap. And here's an agent select for Pearl.
And here's the thing about Pearl for 2G. We've never seen them play this at a top of... Okay, we saw them play it one time in the Tashinya Invitational. They were playing Jet and Reina, which is not what they're going to be rocking today. But I can't imagine that this team, with all of the roster changes, and even that was a different roster, has much reps on stage. Or we'll have to see what they've been putting in scrims.
Right, so obviously it's a Teo look for both teams. The point of difference being the Fade and the KO respectively. Loud want to lean more into the 0 point, the fast hit potential, of course, behind that null command. PXS favoring the Fade instead.
I think the KO can be pretty annoying for Yoru's playing aggressive op lines as well. You're never going to get caught out where you can't teleport out, but you're always going to have to take the TP and dip away from your angle if you're getting hit by the knife.
Being able to clear that is, again, pretty cheap. Same way as you've used an Owl drone to do that in the past, to get them off that line. The defensive operator is something to look forward to as well on this map, especially on that B side.
Early positioning from Loud has 3 players ready in mid, but okay. Zin's gone.
Great way to start. I mean, he was 11-2 first kill, first death in the last map.
Equalizing those stats a bit, trying to make him a bit more normal.
Well handled by Askia.
But look at this team here, moving a couple of players into mid now, including the Spike, trying to gear up for a split towards the A site, where it's really overloaded. It's only 2Es to hold against this. Has a flash to work with backside to try and reposition off the angle. And this wall for some early info.
Kawanzin towards Link there, really not taking any undue risks. Means that 2G get into Art pretty much for free. This is going to force 2Ys back on the site now. Dark Rose got cleared out. Nebula thrown up here, hopefully to slow 2G down, but it has not worked. And Aski has found yet another one. Coast to coast, both sides of the map having impact. Comfortable post plant set up here for 2G. QR going from strength to strength. They've got a head of steam and they're not letting up.
It's just a massacre. Loud lost every single fight. Even on Lotus, which 2G won, they lost the opening pistol, they lost the first anti-bonus. Like, it was still Loud getting out to an early lead. This has been lights out from 2G.
Right, I mean, if Loud can't rely on that, the factor of, Digizine, right, constantly opening up the game, giving them 5v4s, then feel even worse about their chances than on the previous map. Especially given this is a pick from 2G, no less.
Yeah.
What a clean, flawless pistol.
Can be a little bit more difficult to capitalize off your teammate's utility when you're playing the Yoru as opposed to the Neon 2. Unless you've got the teleport set up, and here just completely left on his own. The suppression came down, so he was just about to get information that there were about 18 million people in a lobby, but ends up dying before that comes through.
That's the opening here. 2G going to straight away pivot into a pretty big Stinger cohort. PXS rifle in hand now.
Giga Chad, first day on the big stage, goes for the rifle round 2.
Yeah, dap me up, boys. I'm going in.
I love it. Oh, Oski is trying to get in front of the util. That's not a clone. That's a real one.
Okay, takes a face full of damage here. Does that end up being a difference maker? Doesn't necessarily look like it. Regen shield for Askia, so back to 25 armor at least. And Kawanzin caught in the corner, sat on top of the Teo util anyway. 2G are breaking upon this Loud team, and they found themselves that player advantage. We'll have DGZine coming through with a wrap here, but he'll be spotted out.
He's sneaking into sight. The only one to try and do some damage, but yeah, he's seen. Couldn't catch the timing. That's a solid round 2 for 2G.
Okay, there's some real pace to the game here for 2G. So much so that Aski is taking damage from the guided salvo just to try and get pole position as he approaches that A site.
Yeah, and him doing that, by the way, it forces, or it stops Loud from getting anyone to cross over to that box in A main to play that sort of tag team setup where you can swing off each other's contact. It's for a good reason, from the salvos and the Astra smoke.
And again, this is not a map we've just seen much from 2G, in fairness. It's hard to know what to expect here, but so far, they've been dynamic. They've been pretty decisive when it matters, but this is the gun round. This is the important one. And they're looking to be early.
2 players from 2G upgrade into rifles this round after dying in round 2. And those, for the most part, are going to be working into the mid space. There's a star to turn into a pullback here for Vinny to play off, but it's not there. It's too late.
It's a little ugly. Gabera and LZ take some damage from that exchange, but 2G more than happy to keep the pressure on.
2 is always on his own. His Link player dies, his team is way out of position. He's trying to move around the site, get in front of the util, but it's Askia swinging with a stinger. It's falling apart for Loud.
And there's a grab well over towards Link, buying a little bit of time for Loud, but not enough for 2Ys to get the help that he needs. Pancada finally is able to chime in. Silence out of the game, but now there's a smoke in tower. And Link is being occupied by 2G in this post plant.
Super active post plant. I love how 2G are playing this.
Okay, Askia falls here. Bancada's able to find him through the smoke. Those still 3 rifles to work with for the attackers. And Loud are getting a little bit lean on personnel. Here's Gabera. Here's the tap. Kawanzin good for it. Awkwardly caught. Util in hand, and it's the Teo curse. Striking again. Kawanzin clearly unaffected by it, though, as LZ now has that stall util. Grab well used. Kawanzin forced off the spike. Now swing. LZ sees it. Buying time, buying time. It's expensive here for Loud, and now they've got to throw Pancada in the situation.
There's no time. LZ does it again. 2G keeping it working after taking map 1 against Loud.
It's not the cleanest execution out of that first gun, but again, you just can't be complaining about that if you're 2G. They'll be able to buy into rifles, they'll have full armor, no problem. They've crossed the first hurdle here on Pearl.
The Red Bull clutch for the in-game leader. Taking the range for the first time here for 2G. But at the same time, like, Loud getting themselves into these positions consistently where the fight into Link is awkward, their Astra util is on the ground, but it doesn't come in time for Vinny to work off of.
Conversely, LZ does a great job stalling the defuse and plays off it.
Exactly. 2G also continuing they were doing this on Lotus too, where they were playing super active, super up in their post plants, especially on the A site. We saw that there as well. It's simple clear.
He's clowning Digizine in these early rounds, man. The thing of beauty.
They're winning everywhere. They win B main, they win A main. Spike was in spawn for all of that. Now going for their ones here, and they win that too.
They're going to win so much they get tired of winning. Kawansine and Bacata.
And sure, look, Loud have no guns, but like, 2G aren't playing like a clean, perfect macro where they group up, you know, aren't going to get timinged at all. No, they're taking their ego fights and they're just winning them because they can.
Kawansine is that last player standing and really just transfixed here. In awe of what 2G have been able to do, running roughshod over Loud these 4 rounds consecutively.
I really like how 2G are playing the post plants too, with LZ playing into Link, this time super deep towards doors after being seen. The spike is also planted for him to be in Link. Now bottom right corner of sight, that is not common at all.
Now Loud have to start game planning for that next round. They do have, of course, like the retake wall potential here with a Cosmic Divide. So again, if it comes down onto B and they've got to make a play for that, they've got options. Kawansine here, just go for it. He's going to be able to buy anyway. There's 2G again. That shaky economy coming out of the 3rd round, starting to be salvaged.
And now in a polar opposite to map 1, where it was 2G falling down 0-4, now it's Loud in a similar boat. Loud, this next round coming up is massive. Like you pointed out, they've got the Astral Wall. They're 1 away from the Tail Wolf too. Those ults play off barely nicely off one another.
SDK, they're looking, pretty unimpressed with his team's outing so far. Can't blame him. Calls a timeout here.
Seriously. I mean, where's Digizine? 0-4 to open up the map after
11-2.
30 bomb, 11-2 in opening fights. Like, come on.
Picked up, I mean, there's a potential here, at least we can see he's picked up an operator on the defense side. So won't have to, work his way halfway down B long, can play more passive over towards halls. And 2G have to shift into protocols in order to push him off that line.
This is where I wonder what 2G's call coming out of the timeout is. Because if they're looking at the money and they realize, hey, Digizine could go for the operator here, they could just run a fast ult play with the Yoru, right? Use the Yoru ult to get full scouting. You're never going to be fooled by any of the lines that the enemy Yoru is going to be playing with the op, because that ult lasts for forever. You can fully clear away sites. It's not like a Sova drone where a late swing can come in. That's not possible.
It doesn't allow for the repost of the angle by the op player. You can also get into halls with it, right?
Yeah.
And that might ultimately force a player entirely off B into a retake spot with an op, which feels awful if you get smoked out in tower or links.
Yeah, where it could be a problem for 2G is if they do play a slower round and you allow Digizine to get pushed up B long or something like this, but I think the call for them is going to be relatively quick.
So 2G now, maybe suspecting there's an operator at play for Digizine. Just go to a part of the map where they're less likely to see him.
Yeah, so it's going to be 4 players into A, maybe 5. I think the Yoru ult is going to path into Art. That's what the pings looked like, with the TP to go back into spawn if necessary.
Looks like that's the case. Into Plaza, and Dimensional Drift going to be popped instantly for Askia. Not a whole lot to see here.
Sees a wall.
Sees a banana taped to the wall.
Drone in main, spots nothing, so yeah, pretty easy to scale on in.
Okay, here we go. In the dugout, though, is 2 years. The clone spots him out. And there it is, that heavy util that would clear dugout otherwise. It's going to be respected by 2 years. Plays off of it. PXS now, reassuming control of Art.
2G are fighting back into Art exactly, but Loud's position in secret gets them back onto the site very quickly.
Full cohort of Loud alive, and no, that's not good at all. PXS is finding these edges everywhere. 5-2 right now. And all of Loud basically grouped up in that dugout direction. They've got to try and flood the site, but there's so much Astra util covering it. Util that can be used to stall, can be used to just frazzle, frustrate, and frankly disorient the defenders. Okay, Armageddon to the mix.
Are they gonna save? I mean, there's a late wrap. PXS is being held by the op. It holds up the angle!
There's no point. There's nothing to be had here. They've got to get out, but PXS might not let them! 3 for the newcomer, and he is loving it, folks. Oh, okay. Does get caught out by 2 years, but there's naught to do for Loud. Their 5th consecutive round dropped. Hard hit over towards that A site here for 2G. They can do no wrong on Pearl.
A disaster piece for Loud, pulling off the angle there. They could have lived with 4 guns. Instead, PXS farming all of them. The operator is carried over, I suppose, but these rounds are just brutal. I feel like 2G is catching every timing, and even in situations where like Loud are primed and ready and are right there ready to fight, nothing's going their way.
It's a tough retake at the best of times on A, and the worst part is, they commit the Cosmic Divide for a retake, Loud. They just get no value out of it.
And Kawa dying means they don't have the Teo ult. I think even going for the Operator, in hindsight, might have been a mistake, knowing there's a Nora ult on the other side.
Digis in. Suppressed. Stuck in his spot. Dangerous. Should be able to walk it back, though. Askia steps out. Flashed. Decoy. And so Loud will actually have a player advantage. Finally, a first kill for Digis in. It feels like it's a long time.
Loud's positioning on A, having 2 players in main, could be pretty pivotal in a round like this, even with the Sheriffs, because 2G aren't sending any players there to clear them out. Stalling out the plant, putting pressure down with the tail potentially if they're able to snipe away a kill or 2. But actually, it's 2G that put a smoke on A main, so they're fully prepared for this.
Yeah, 2G might have seen it with a Prowler. It's unclear if they know about this presence in A main yet. Silence down though, nice Sheriff shooting here. It's an awkward buy for Loud.
This is the problem though, Spike hasn't been planted, the smoke is down, there's still players in main, and there's players towards the enemy spawn. Like, 2G are getting pinched.
I think Gobera is going to be crucial here. Find a way to relieve some of the pressure that will be coming at 2G. It's a tap for PXS. Cowan's in, unfazed.
30 seconds.
This is where this Teho util for stall starts to become a bit more of an issue.
They're so patient.
Gobera has not gone for this play through water.
Spike planted.
Passive line, we do get a spike plant that isn't interrupted.
It's all on LZ here, 1v2.
Okay, here's it. Nightfall comes in, catches onto both players over towards A main. LZ is going to get busy. Briefly suppressed. Here comes that Armageddon to try and clear Art. PXS has to move out of it, and he does. Takes some damage though. Here's LZ. Oh my goodness! What is that spray? Finds Cowan's in, but now to 1v3 for Gobera. Stall, util is there. 2 years off the spike for now. Stars come down, Digis in. Shot baited, taken down. Gobera, almost. 2G play it close but Loud. They spend a heck of a lot to get on the board.
It is unbelievable that that round is even remotely close. Look, Loud, they're on an eco, but the positioning they got themselves in with the opening pick, with the Operator down B, the pick back towards their own spawn as well, like, there shouldn't be a chance for 2G to win this round. Having 2 players in main. Yeah, that second kill from LZ, like, what?
Okay, deep breaths. 2G, of course, still very rich. That defense side Operator still maintained, though, and Digis has a dimensional drift, too.
Carrying that op over, not losing the 5th player 2 rounds ago, meant everything for Loud. It's the only reason they had a shot last round.
So it might be an attempt at a B-side take with Astra Wall here.
The old classic.
Yep.
I've seen this every time ult's been up in solo queue.
Still a question, though, of how you're going to get this Yoru player off the site.
Down.
Cowan's goes hunting here.
Yeah, well, PXS has held on to the Haunt as well as having a Seize potentially catch out some of these players. Very patient for 2G. They've got to commit into this. They have no position anywhere else on the site.
They're going to flash out of this smoke here. They come. Askia sees a heck of a lot of action going on. Digis able to find one. Gets out. Back towards Horse now with the op, but a Steel Garden's going to connect, so he's down to his secondary. He opts out of it. Dimensional Drift popped, and he will see it all. 3 players here for 2G, all spotted, so no other resources committed, and there is that wall in play for 2G. Still no plant yet. Digis might look to interrupt, getting back behind them over at B-Long, and Silence goes down. That's a spike loose time board for the rest of Loud to get ready.
Smoke has blocked him off, so now 2G can put the spike onto the ground. No any utility to get back onto the site, and LZ is trying to challenge onto the angle, barely coming down before getting shot. He wins the fight!
This is going to feel claustrophobic for 2G, but they got rid of Pancada. 2 years adopts the same position. But now, 2G have no reason to show themselves. They've got to be dug out by Loud. Digis has opted for a rifle. Got that Vandal in hand, is able to move up the site, and then an Astra util to stall is in play for LZ. He can do it all from here.
1 enemy remaining.
PXS, crucial. There's the gravity well now. Digis running out of options. In a 1 versus 2, trying to go for it, trying to bait LZ out into the open. Just as Loud start to find their footing here. It gets a little bit shaky, but Digis is found 3 and 4. What a save! Digis.
It's a close one! No, sir!
Oh, no! 0.2 seconds. And for Loud, the money is... It's awful. Oh, no.
That is bad news. I mean, LZ taking that fight. This is a 2-on-3 situation. They're pinched from enemy spawn and long again, just like in the previous round, but this time they're successful in working forward, winning those fights. And even though Digizin gets 4 on the round, the amount of time it took to get back in there is just not good enough.
Such a chaotic round. Loud try and mix it up, flash himself out the smoke. It doesn't go the way they needed to, and then the operator finally wrested from the grip of Loud.
Round is playable though, with Tui's having the ultimate. There's options. Loud also creeping out into this mid space, potentially for a quick flank. Flooded through Link.
Okay, briefly, 2 years is spotted out. Oh my god, losing the Vice early would be devastating for Loud. That's so critical, the Steel Garden, to their chances of having fair fight in the round.
And the one Guardian is the guy that's over in the enemy spawn. No chance there.
Okay. So Gate Crash, usually by Askia, gets ahead of some of this util. We're not into horse yet. They can't dig out the Vice. Time being bought. Digizin almost caught there with util in hand. Gets rid of LZ. Critical player and okay! The classic sings for 2 years.
And look at the flank. The Guardians walked all the way up. Vinny is waiting, boxing these players in, playing right up on top of the Vise wall.
So there's no options. There's a clock ticking now for 2G. I'm not talking about the round timer. They've got to get over to this B site now, but it's awkward.
30 seconds left.
As the Arc Rose getting work done. Cowanzine trying to dig PXS out of that position. 24 seconds, eyes on the clock, folks.
Vinny on the move now on the flank, making a lot of noise. 2G have to act fast.
They're happy to let that shield wall herald his arrival, and so 2G have to go for it. They're forced into an error. Loud able to gobble them up here. Gobera doesn't know where to look. Big thrifty from Loud. Clawing their way back into this game after a nightmare start.
Loud in these ecos. Continuing to go their way. Those are the only rounds they can win, it seems. And it comes after almost getting owned on a timing here, but re-swings off the flash. Good off angle, held backside 2 from Tui's. The second that guy's trying to clear the left corner, he's swinging around the right.
You said it, round was playable. Especially with that Steel Garden. Now, 2G. Again, so many of these rounds were so close to that economy. Trashed. No ults, forget about that.
I want to see 2G do something in mid. It's just kind of been side hit after side hit for the last few rounds. Haven't seen the slow work, haven't seen the Vise wall challenged.
We've kind of seen like PXS when he gets into water. Like there was that crazy round where he's able to really punish Loud, but you're right, not a whole lot of work in Link.
Yeah, it's oftentimes later in the round or even in the post plant trying to push in there.
The Vice wall is going to be triggered. Once again, Loud do commit both their A players into main to set up a potential crunch if 2G commit through Link.
Ooh, pretty deep drone, spots nothing, so yeah, Loud should know this mid space is being taken advantage of. You got Vinny playing back towards spawn, throwing a knife actually, see if anyone's up close.
So far, pretty impenetrable here for Loud. All of this stall util. Pancada to play from behind it, quick snap. Nova Pulse here, but nobody to be affected by it. Pancada mildly smoked out, just make sure it clears it in case it was a Durka moment.
30 seconds left.
Pops down the smoke to break the one-way there.
Askia. Getting some ice. Beautiful from Pancada, very clean. Askia challenging as well, the Razor Biden, risking laceration to try and come from an unexpected angle. Eventually Pancada goes down, but he definitely got his money's worth this round.
Yeah, like that off angle he was working from back pillar.
10 seconds left.
We know
Right on
shot
the same
case.
line.
PXS turned into mulch, and Loud have got themselves 3 rounds. Yeah, methodical, not taking any undue risks there. I think a far cry, from the way they approach their defense on, Lotus, where they're always pushing up, so busy like a kicked anthill.
Yeah, this is a little bit more reserved in general. Falling back into, again, I think something that Loud have always been very good at, like sight-holding fundamentals, like that tandem play, whether it's the positioning you can find, the timings of swings together. There, it's sort of that push and pull between Pancada and Tui's back sight. Pancada falls off the line, Tui's re-enters on a slightly different angle. That can be really hard to clear away, especially if you've already used your initial volley of utility.
Change of tack required here for 2G, for sure. What was getting them success in the early rounds, perhaps no longer relevant anymore, especially once Digizin was able to get an operator after that first gun round didn't go quite so well for Loud. Eventually, 2G run out of that extra cash to keep funding their aggressive forays here on Pearl. So what's the change going to look like? What's the mix-up? We did see them make some more use of Link and mid in that round, but Ender, that was, I mean, it's an eco round. Didn't have much to work with. They're just sort of grasping at straws, and Pancada really just stopped them in their tracks.
I think 2G are going to prefer the A site a little bit more. They've got some good ultimates coming up for clearing that away, but also I think with how consistently Tui's has been putting like wall over into Art, like the few times they've gone into Art, they've seen that wall there. I think playing for like Yoru clone to break that away, put some pressure early, could be a good look for them. Although, as I'm saying that doesn't exactly seem to be the case.
That's something overlooked as well.
What do I know?
First Yoru look here for Digizine. Look, shaky start was 0 and 4, I think, at the start of the map, but
I'm a genius, they're going A.
again, the Loud do want to lean into this like A-main control early. And 2G don't want to challenge it immediately, maybe a re-clear later. I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah, embedding the Yoru over onto B.
They're playing as if there's a plaza push-up from the defenders.
Oh no, boosted up, Digizine gets the kill. Yeah, they had their own Astro Smoke put down long, trying to threaten a pop into there. But Digizine taking the fight, baits that out. Now the play into Art and A main is very telegraphed, so Loud can start leaning 3 players towards that side of the map. This is an annoying round for 2G to fight their way through.
Okay, 2G gonna have to go for it here. Pancada though, any shoot. Knows that all the action's coming from Art, and I don't know if this wrap here from A-main's gonna be quick enough for 2G, so step on up and get knocked on down, says Pancada. Yeah, Silence here just didn't have the timing to be of any use in that fight, and unfortunately for 2G, they just come off an eco round. Silence here is gonna have to probably take this gun out of the round if he can.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
30
Tui's already has him boxed in from window. I really like the way that Loud have reacted to the mid-attention, right? If their wall's ever triggered or they hear audio in that space, there's 1-2 players stepping into A main almost immediately. You've also got Digizine that's not backing away from the angles on B. He's jumping up. It's a little bit risky, but I assume flashed himself onto that line to win the fight. Oh no, you never crouch those angles! Different elevation, that's the way out of a fight.
Okay, Loud has built back into this game well and truly now. 4 out of the last 5 rounds won. No chance for 2G to stabilize an economy. And they're back to half armor Sheriffs in this next round.
There you go. Self-flash into pop-up. Gotta love that.
And look, that's something that I think the very round that Digizine first got knocked, 2G were kind of aware of. That round they went over towards A. They tried to avoid it entirely. But eventually you have to pay the piper. You have to do something about this Yoru.
I'll return.
Well, I'm anticipating 2G. Maybe grab your ult here if they want to commit that into the round. It's a fight in A main. Calian is up in this.
Okay.
Hello? Just in the thick of the utility, 2G continuing to challenge on that angle. Will eventually push Loud away.
Rifle? For Silence? Yes. 2G really fight doggedly for this A main control. Have it get themselves a rifle upgrade as well. And now, LZ does give his position away, of course, with that shield wall activating, but you're not too bothered about that at this point. Cat's definitely out of the bag. So here's that defensive side in Null Command. Hard to set up now if you're the Astra on 2G.
You're happy to pull one ult. You're even happier to pull a second ult on an eco, just because of the early work done. And now 2G don't have to instantly commit because they showed that player breaking the wall in mid. There's a lot of pressure going into the center of the map right now. Loud have a lot of questions. So you've even got Digizine trying to hold if there's a Link player coming against him. Got Astra back and Spawn watching for that angle. I like this reset of the round from 2G.
And because of that, Null Command, there's still so much of that controller util that LZ can draw upon here. Still fully set up for A, have a full execute, get Silence in position to let the rifle sing. Armageddon first, that's going to clear dugout now. Means Vinny's a bit exposed on the side here, and okay.
Look at LZ and Spawn. LZ's caught the timing, full flash though.
Oh, okay.
Finally wins the fight. And now the rest of Loud can move into the site. 10 seconds remaining. PXS puts the spike on the ground. Loud quick on the move. First kill for Pancada. And they keep flooding in. Players from all directions. Digizine is back in main against 2G.
Surely this is good.
Yeah, there's no way you're prepped for that one.
Silence! Okay. My heart too old for this. Okay, defuse here for Loud. And the game is now to within one singular round. 2G fighting, but remember, that was Eco. They were able to upgrade to a rifle there. Silence really put it to use. Kawanzin, or rather, Pancada inexplicably going down to that Armageddon there. Looks like there was nowhere to move on the site. Oh, frustrating, but yeah. It's been such a good half now. Loud have gotten into the game properly.
Good bounce back, that's for sure. Now, though, 2G have every ultimate to play with. It's been a while since we've seen them have a couple of these ults in the round, since their streak was kind of put to the end. Last time it was Askia moving in through Art, ending in an A finish. Could turn into something similar in the mid-round. A much less adamant approach to the A main control for 2G this round. They very much let Loud have it. With a, with an asterisk there. It's just Silence sitting back waiting for the push-up. I do really like how Loud continued to get that forward position. Now Dujazin taking that first angle up in A main. Reclear spots nothing, so great timing for 2G to go for a pinch into A now.
What does this reclear from 2G at A main look like? Okay, stealth drone. Okay, Armageddon.
That's a bit premature.
Very much so, yeah. 2G's gonna be able to get out of there. And now they lean here, more in the direction of Art. Askia knows the Digizin is still here. He knows there's a double up, in fact, for Loud. This is scary here. And there's Askia emerging, takes Digizin down instantly. Kawanzin spotted out, of course. That's the Nightfall doing work. A second here for the 2G duelist. He's got to respect that special delivery. As the Steel Gunner comes in, and Askia, he's unstoppable.
30 seconds left.
That's 2 years. Long way away from the action.
Cutting through.
Spike to be planted for backside. Askia going on a journey for that ace. A monstrous round from him.
You kind of called it, these big ultimates for 2G, getting him such an edge. Askia, believe it or not, used Dimensional Drift this round. Camara, his nerve fails him. Askia, though, still on for the ACE. Looks like 2G here. Again, great start to this half. Loud get into it, start to download him a little bit more, and there it is, folks! Power race for Askia.
Switching sides.
His ultimate that round was crazy. It was a more methodical play, right? But coming in for that wraparound in main, knowing that they were all deafened. So he pops out of this ultimate. I do think Digizin dodged the Nightfall, but still couldn't win that fight. Then Vinny had no chance against him, and that shot there was crisp.
Yeah, they made us wait for it a little bit there, but clean showing, of course. Oh, buddy. Got to be pleased about that one. 2G again, 7-round attack side here on Pearl. A blistering start, a peter off later on, but still finishing in style. We've got a break and then a second half of this map coming at you.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Capping off the first half with an ace, Askia leads 2G to a strong 7-5 attack side showing on Pearl. Good looks for 2G. They started incredibly well as Loud eventually found their footing. How does this second half look to play out? Because Digizin was able to get the defensive ops, starting to look pretty good, but for most of the game, Askia was lights out.
I think for me it is the Digizin question, right? Because it was obviously apparent. Like when he was getting domed at the start of the first 4 rounds in a row, falling down, Loud didn't have much of a chance. When he's alive, they were really cruising through things. It's now Loud working into the safe space early on. LZ getting pushed back, just super active on that line. Loud doing very nice work to push through the space.
LZ just spent most of that time jockeying back around the corner, and PXS wasn't able to capitalize on any of the damage done. On the side now, okay! Digizine brought down. Silence looks to play out in the open here and spam down through this smoke. It's been effective. 2 years, Cowanzine, both quite low here.
Some angles LZ's trying to work against his own Aster Smoke there. Gobera needs this fight and gets it.
He was getting absolutely hammered by Pancada, but one shot is all it takes apparently. And all that bluff and bluster from Loud early in the round has petered out. They look a little sheepish walking away from A. And Gobera's going to try and meet them here over towards Plaza.
A lot of noise made from Loud. Rotation a bit obvious, and good work from LZ too. Low HP, but he's the guy pushing up. So now that he turns that corner, it's not a re-hit into A, and the rest of his team can move into B. There's going to be 3 players ready to greet the wave of Loud.
There is a sheer wall here in front of LZ, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't care if he gives away his position.
Yeah, if anything, it makes Loud have one player turn around, take them away from this fight on site.
Making your opponents feel like they're on a clock can start to push that mental bandwidth to the limit. Cowanzine desperately low, and a flick from Askia will account for him. Sheer wall's up, and Spike is on the wrong side of it.
And here's the lurk. There you go. There's no time, and we're still not turning around. LZ gets 2 kills on no HP.
Loud are down diabolical after the start of that round.
Wow. It's funny because it's that same thing LZ did on defense Lotus. Right after there was this round, there's A aggression, he opens the door and the Omen pushes through, sees no one there, kills a lurker, and then it's a full rotate from the rest of his team. Here it works out. He even puts a cross-map smoke on site to help his teammates flood through and keep up the pressure against the plant.
Askia immediately has gone for an outlaw here, looking for that solo B presence potentially. Yeah, brutal stuff. Letting him into the game, Loud.
Well, they throw an early knife into A, but end up backing away from the space. That outlaw is still down B.
Askia down B, Loud down bad. We're about to run on a collision course. Silence as well. Have to imagine he has an inkling this is coming his way. No way, dude. Okay, sees a barrel. Okay, gets his one. Only the one, though. Now Askia, a little less solid here, but able to find 2 years comfortably. Correction's not there for Cowanzine, though. He is slowed up for a time.
This fight in Link could be everything. Digizine has a Sheriff. And even numbers. If he had a chance to upgrade, that would have been big. Now, though, with the stall coming on through, Digizine isn't grouped with the team. 2G are ready for the retake.
They're going to play from under for the most part. No tower present, so this smoke is going to obscure them entirely. Prowler into halls. Still no spike plant. Digizine importantly, but LZ's able to bring Pancada down. That was the outlaw that was supposed to go to work. Forced into an early retirement instead. Nova Pulse, still no plant, by the way. Cowanzine finds his 4th, though. The Bulldog bites. PXS with the Guardian now. What an important round for this newcomer. And he's cool, calm, collected, composed. Digizine has to cross. PXS wary of a flank from the right side. Baits the shot! You cannot ask for much more for a debut showing. Massive Red Bull clutch here in round 14.
Another one for PXS, because, right, Digizine only has 1 bullet in that outlaw. He did so many of these shoulder baits, and he only had the light armor, so it would have been the 1 shot.
Honestly,
great work.
The way he's handled this round, it's giving years of experience. Not first time on stage at Americas.
That's the thing. We're again 2 rounds, pistol second, where Digizine is coming up killless. Now rifle in hand, though.
Yeah, there's bonus here. A little nasty for 2G, of course, having such a close, hard-fought round in the prior. Only the Guardian for PXS to pin hopes on. Askia, you'll note, does not have a gate crash active.
Oh, spots the gun there.
Huge info.
And now 2G are able to call in the assistance of Gobera, so he's going to be there on site. Loud haven't really started to work the map. They need to put some attention in mid. There's still this very annoying Vise wall in street that needs to be cleared away.
55 seconds to do all of this here, so highly doable, but Loud are probably going to start to run on a thin margin here. Here's that mid-control aforementioned.
Oh, if Loud called back into B, it would be great, but 2G have kind of read the A split. 4 players stacked now for 2G on A.
Enough noise to wake the dead, clearing through Art. Here come Loud, armed to the gills, and that's the solo guarding the round, singing out there for PXS.
Just 25 seconds.
Oh, in the smoke! You're kidding. LZ able to find just the one. Gabera gets his, an uppercutter, and Tigers are up against it. Silence knows he's got to go for it, and there it is! A nasty thrifty! It's sickening from 2G.
There's just something different in the air right now. 2G winning all these fights. Again, it is PXS, by the way, in main. The same way that Loud were controlling A main on their defensive side, him winning that 1v1 allows him to turn his attention fully back to the site. It creates another brutal angle for Loud to have to clear when they're trying to flood out from Art. It's just not possible, no matter the guns.
And this Loud team, I mean, to be frank, look out at sea, lost, headless. Now with a stinger buy in this round, I can only hope that their pace can stymie 2G a little bit here, but I'm shocked that we're looking at such a scoreline. And Carmen Zine, never around to be played for him.
It's the same story. Again, Loud on the attack, but no control over A main. 4 players tethered up in Art. Like, how are you going to fight through this round? It's not really going to happen.
Like, they're just trying to overwhelm. It looked like they were dancing around the maypole with 4 of them being seized there. They can at least trade into the map a little bit. This time into Connector.
At the same time, while all this work is being done in mid, you've got LZ crept up into B long. So you've got 2G giving up mid, but they have full control over both mains and some, you know, insurance policies, whether it's back towards spawn, Silence jiggling the angle for the info.
Okay. Here comes Digicine. So early warning now. Should be able to see Silence. Can he spot out LZ over towards long? That's massive. Now Loud playing without knowledge of a player that's in a bit of a pinch position. Still Digicine being canny about how he starts to swing halls.
30 seconds left.
Weird round. Loud grouped up here in Link for now. LZ waiting for the perfect time to spring forth. There's Digicine down. And still, LZ hidden over and long. Oh, it's cooked. Cooked.
I've got to draw it back to what's at stake here for Loud, right? You got 3 matches coming up after this. They lost their opening series to Crew after blowing them out in the opening map. To lose to 2G, who's the expected worst team in the group, would set them up at 0-2. Now you're looking at probably having to win all your games or rely on other teams losing. It gets a little bit muddy. For Loud, for a team of that caliber to be put in that position, and from the other hand, 2G to have a win under their belt and now still very much be in the race to make it out. That is completely out of left field.
This Loud team are the ones that were supposed to lead the way for Brazil. You know, going back to these tried, true, tested names to, again, put their region back on the map. Not only have they been eclipsed by MIBR, who went for the Youngblood in Kickoff, now the upstarts of 2G, the Ascended team, are threatening to put them to the sword here. And like you mentioned, potentially mathematically disqualify them from playoffs if things don't go perfectly for Loud.
Yeah, because it's not like you have easy competition coming after this, right?
You've got easy. This is supposed to be your easiest game.
You've got to knock down still. So Loud, they have to stop getting lost in the muddiness of these rounds, right? Like, how many 1v1s are we offering up to just allow 2G to take full control from a macro perspective of the round? Maybe it just has to come back to execing as a team, working on what should be superior protocols. You've been scrimming for forever if you're Loud. 2G just got PXS. Had LZ step into IGL this team the other day.
They said they virtually had no practice as a squad. What little practice they had, though, they felt like it's been effective, and can't argue with that.
And even the players we've never seen them play Pearl.
Ask is tucked here, of course, with the contingency, and as soon as that 0 point comes in, he's forced to gate crash out lest he gets stranded there.
Time to jump.
Flash himself onto the line. Where have I seen this before? Ooh.
You're not Digicine, buddy.
That didn't quite go the way he would have liked. Oh, big
good spot.
Big plaza presence. Is he ready for the second player? This is a little awkward now. You're on a clock. This time the no Vice Wall is going to save you from a backstab, and they're not going to know.
Oh, there's ults everywhere.
Okay, somehow a gap's been found here. Somehow DGZ
Like on the side, shut down. PXS drops, and now the fight into Link. Gobert, the sole survivor in that massacre.
Still no plant, though. Plenty of time in the round. Plenty. So early has his action been. Gobert has only 7 points of health left, and Loud looks set to get back into the game. What they have to do to mimic a fraction of 2G's power is immense, but regardless, it keeps their head above the surging tides.
So wake-up call in that timeout from STK. Remember, the first half looked very much like this. Started snowballing away from them again the first 4 rounds in a row. Timeout was called, and Loud buckled down. It comes after Askia whiffs out on the shot, so it's not even a 1-for-1 trade. And then surviving backside. Very unexpected angle for those 2G players to be working against.
First round, one of the half here for Loud. It's not going to be enough in the long run, but it's a start. The op is gone for 2G. They've got no longer have that in possession, but they've got Dimensional Drift, they've got Nightfall.
Some monster ults to play off of. And Loud don't really have a split. Again, it's 4 players grouped up in a main and giving some space for Tui's to work the extremities.
Yeah, this time it's going to be the Astra allocated over towards B for 2G instead of the Yoru.
Yeah, it's very clear what the timeout calling was from SDK. It's let's play 4 grouped together and see what we can do on the lurks with some late inserts. That's going to be Cowanzine delayed into the A site.
Okay, Gobert has definitely got the potential to keep 2 2G players at this A side. Or rather, Cowanzine.
Yeah, the drone play a bit predictable. 2G still here.
Okay. Well, if this doesn't say, get off my lawn, I don't know what does. Steel Garden thrown down here. 2 years committing that one. This means Loud can sort of walk up in onto the B side now. Got the plant.
The Nightfall Astral Divide combo is so brutal, retaking into the site. Very hard for Loud. Do you stay on the site, get hit by the Nightfall, play off, be forced away behind the wall?
There it is. Both those ultimates committed. Here's Loud, trying to converge and be in position to fight for this, but it's going to be tough. 2 years down. Vinny also falling into Askia for Cowanzine. And he doesn't know where he's coming from. But what is that? It's otherworldly. Extra sensory perception from Cowanzine. I don't know how he knew Askia was coming from there, and that's what it takes to keep this going, really?
The back of his neck was tingling, right? Those hairs standing up, goosebumps. Cowanzine, 10 HP. He's like, oh, this guy's just behind me. Boom.
I mean, that is pure instinct. Pure instinct. Cowanzine now in his 2nd year on this Loud team, already looking so promising to start with in 2024. Continuing to grow in this role. Savior of the round.
Okay, so Louder still sort of in this game. 2G work onto a bad buy, doing a bit of an aggro piece into A. Just some sheriffs back to B. But even then, Loud still have the ultimates. They've been pretty liberal committing those ultimates in even on these anti-ecos. Just making sure they secure these rounds.
Okay, DGZ just goes for contact there. Askia serves himself up. 2G really not in a position to argue with this A hit, but the spike was left back. It was a bit more of a default look here, so there will be time for these defenders, underarmed as they are, to get set.
Tui's position is crazy. He's working into the art insert while his team is planting over on B. Got a lot of time to work with.
More stall here for 2G. This time it's Gobert as util.
You can see 2G is really trying to hunt out this lurk. They haven't seen Tui's. They know he's going to be trying something.
No way, man. This is a long barrel, I'll say that much, yeah? The long barrel of the law is thwarted. PXS now gets an outlaw. Obviously, the spike does go down after some stall there from the defenders. Again, still, it's tough. They've got a stinger, they've got an outlaw to work with. Here's a haunt. Sees nothing. Stealth drone sees nothing. Silence sees nothing. And mess up to PXS now. It's a big ask for him. Vinny's starting to get into the game a little bit more. He might have just doubled his frags in that round, I'm not going to lie.
This round coming up might be the hardest for Loud. Got a couple ultimates to work with for 2G. Full buy on their side, too.
Okay, not the most complex round. A walk up there from Loud. Some superior weapons, good crossfires. This comeback here, well and truly underway. That's 3 rounds in a row for Loud. 2G now go back to buy. They've got key ultimates as well. Steel Guard and Armageddon at the ready. But Loud has a fast hit potential behind Null Command should they want to go that way.
Early scouting doesn't spot anything. That's both info pieces from Loud spent immediately in the round. Usually that would indicate a faster acceleration, so they throw out the clone, that breaks the wall. It's gonna set up for a later pivot into A.
That was an awkward shoulder peek for Askia. Punishable.
What Loud are gonna do is they're gonna dip into street here, see if they can find anything. That would have threatened to pinch in towards B, but quickly look to reset into the A. But the important thing for Loud is this A main player. We have not seen this player win the fights in the solo spot. If Pankata can't take down Askia, this round is so hard to play.
We'll be tracking that. Askia waiting, watching the slimmest line. Gabera forced back now, realizes what's happening, but doesn't have any time to get that util out. Null command is popped. Askia stranded in this position. Currently suppressed. Gate crash not an option. Pankata's going to keep him here. Hold him under the thumb. In place. Here comes the reinforcements now flashing through the smoke. Askia tried to reposition and it gets him one kill. Still no spike plant. Loose towards A main. Now scooped up and en route to the site. Steel Garden comes in now. That was from the defenders here. More stall. More denial of a plant.
But there's only 20 seconds. They need to get the spike down onto the ground. Couple of prowlers for LG to work with. Gobera has the ultimate too. The time is going away.
Vinny knows he's got a touch. Can Gobera time this properly? He cannot hear. That's the problem. Cosmic Divide prevents him from getting the sound cue that he needs, and the spike goes down. Here's the Armageddon though. Nobody there to be affected by it, but it'll still be a cleanup. It's up to Pankata here versus 4. 2G now trying to give themselves a staging ground to end the series. But Pankata stands up, finds 2. It's unreal! How do you distill a moment like that? How do you call upon it just when you exactly need it?
Not only did he stay alive in main, he kills everyone on Loud. 4 kills to come away with a Red Bull clutch. Pankata on the Astra, sitting with 22 kills to his name right now. I mean, the first they line up for him, and then the last 2 players, they wait. It's like, let's get the swing at the same time, but no, Pankata precedes them. That preemptive strike catches them off guard.
If Pankata doesn't win a 1 versus 4, the economy for Loud essentially broken. There's just so little to work with. They're forcing Awkwardly to try and stay in the game. That is a legendary showing for Pankata. The impact can't be overstated. A desperate timeout now for 2 game because nothing hits you harder than a gut punch like that from a previous champion who's still living the glory days.
That is crazy. We saw Kalanzine do it a couple of rounds ago, snapping back behind the Astra wall. This time a 1v4. Infinitely more insane.
And the buffer for 2G is starting to run slim.
Oh yeah.
They're running out of space. Loud nipping at their heels now. They have equalized 2G's 4-round streak at the start of this half. It's a 2-round game. Just as it was when 2G moves onto the defense side.
And remember, that was the hardest round left for Loud, right? The ultimates have now been spent. You're not going to see 2G probably cycling those together for a while. Maybe next round or the round after, 2G will have another big ult round, but really we're just looking at one more.
Okay. In we go now, pressed up against the barrier. Loud have definitely been fighting for this control here of A-Man and trying to have Pankata as a loose end here. We got a walk up from Askia. Okay,
Money.
man. That is the jackpot.
Time to jump. Looks like Loud are still wanting to contest this space. Get the orb.
Fake teleport.
Gate crash obviously back towards spawn, so Askia has the ability to get to B quickly should it be required. Loud know they've got some time to work with. There'll of course be a large amount of utility that has to be cleared on this B side of the map, and 2Years is hoping to get ahead of the game and find something. He does!
Nice.
LZ offers him up a frag.
And that's going to pull one player over towards B while Loud trying to work into Art. Good little 1-2 punch setup from 2G, but Loud doing their homework, clearing away those angles and moving it back into that lurk to B.
It's diligent use of the util there for Loud, not taking any undue risks. Now trying to control that B side as 2Years wants to pave the way. Okay, that's a problem. That complicates things. Silent though is affected by that Nova Pulse, but is safe here for the time being. And there's another player here for 2G. Gate crash now into halls.
Almost a disaster there. Getting picked off by Silence. You know, Spike will go down. 2G have the numbers advantage, but no real util to work off.
Again, Loud don't have much post-plant util to lean on now. They're trying to buy a little bit of time, get some space, but PXS is poised, ready. It's going to be a flood here from 2G trying to come out from Hall, trying to take the fight here. Askia gets one, but it's not enough. It'll be PXS versus 2. You can't ask him to do it again, to repeat the feat from the previous clutch. He'll be spotted out and dealt with by Digizine. It is a one-round game.
Loud just continuing to ride this wave of momentum. Digizine will have the ult. Askia looks like he wants to buy up into the operator. Trying to challenge for some of these opening fights.
One enemy remains.
This is it. It's the last best chance here for 2G to make things happen. Otherwise, you're at serious risk of letting Loud run away with this one. Dimensional drift as well for Askia, so plenty of early warning mechanism. Here come Loud.
The wrong guess from Askia, though, playing towards the A side. A lot of utility to scout out, sees nothing.
The gate crash, though, is all the way across the map.
It's true. And Loud are never really going to be able to accelerate when the Vise is set up towards B.
Okay, gate crash not taken by Askia.
Trying to see if there's anyone on site, which there isn't.
Digizine could drift into halls entirely here. There's so much free control. 2G have to go for a full retake.
It's even worse than that. Askia's teleport time down. Now the fight back into spawn with silence falling.
2G need to be an active participant in this round. They cannot simply look on as it just happens. And they've got to, again, awkwardly come out from this position. From tower, from under, from Link, into a full 5 of Loud, who are armed to the gills and ready to defend their territory. Here's that dimensional drift. It's surely garnered some information, but he could have surmised there'd be a couple of Loud players here. Askia with the classic of all things. Vinny taken down, but Carter's missing. All of a sudden, this has been turned on his head. Digizine's so low, and PXS chases him down. It falls to 2 years, the veteran. As LZ begins the defuse, 2 years thinks it's just a tap, he goes for the spray. It's wayward, it's ham-fisted, it's off the mark! And the defuse comes in. 2G are at match point.
Finally, one of these late rounds goes their way. And it's not because 2E's wasn't getting the kill. He kills everybody. There's just the smoke allows them to stick through with the spike. That was madness. I mean, first of all, how are you getting that kill? I think LZ, Gobert, and Askia all won ridiculous 1v1s at the same exact time. But it was that flood coming in, every single player jumping out of a smoke behind a corner at the same time. Just overwhelmed Loud.
Again, it's messy, it's costly for 2G, so they win the round, they are broke. Absolutely skint. Of course, they have a chance to take a back seat here and just fight for that round 24, but it was very costly for them.
If they can try and get one of these opening fights in mid, bait out a couple of ults from Loud.
This is no way. Oh, 2 years. Okay, gets very fortunate. It's having to back away and get a Razorvine down.
No way!
Silence, he's ahead of this wall. He's ahead of the Cosmic Divide.
The wall's going to buy so much time from the Astral. There's the second player flooding in already. 2G can fight this through, and Loud can't even commit.
Still a minute to play with, and there's a good chance you can bounce back across the map. That seems to be the plan for Loud.
But even with time, Loud have no position on the map. All of their players are in spawn. They didn't leave an insert towards B. That's the spike. They actually can't. So now, Loud almost have to attack into the center of the map or get completely called on their rotate.
And that Steel Garden is completely pointless for 2 years. There's no impact virtually on this round. Into Art we go. 2G very quickly, rallying themselves here to Secret, to Flowers. Are we pump faking this?
It looks like the last round of Lotus, I'm not gonna lie. 2G have numbers advantage. They over-rotate towards A because they want to play numbers. No way he's getting timing like this.
Yeah.
There's no way Loud are back in the game. And Digizine, with rifles, you have to remember, Loud have the guns.
Steel Guarding going to be thrown down anyway by 2 years. Takes the one stinger out of the game. Fair enough. Grapple down, Pancata gonna get the spike deployed. Askia very, very low. With a stinger here playing from tower, it's an awkward spot to be. Nightfall here, there's a retake wall, but do you want to spend these ultimates in a round like this, 2G? Probably no. As PXS steps up, knocked down instantly. LZ gets his one. This should be a Loud round. They've got control, player advantage, everything you could ask for. Great macro, the bounce back over towards B.
Yeah.
And there's Askia taken to task. Here comes round 24. It's about as important as it gets.
Exactly, and here's the thing. 2G lost the round, but they pulled the 2 big ults. They didn't waste any of their own. So they've got Nightfall, they've got Cosmic Divide, they're 1 off of Silence in the Steel Garden. So they can afford to sort of group together, fight very heavy on one side, play full retake into their Vise if they want to, because those ults combo beautifully together.
Okay, they've got those to lean on, as you mentioned. This is for extra innings. This is Loud getting back into the game. They won, what, like 6 of the last 7 rounds here? Ask you. This could be so pivotal, pushing up onto this line that Kaunzin is prepared for it again.
Wow, they had 3 players on a high-low there. Couldn't get the kill.
He took 0 damage at that.
That's huge.
Now Loud.
2G want to show the idea of aggression, but really, they want to play numbers and they want to play retake. They don't want to risk any of those players with the big ults falling early in the round.
Yeah, I mean, they want to project a willingness to fight, but they'd rather just negotiate from a position of power. That's it. They want the fight to get close in onto this site. They've got the perfect ultimates for it.
And the more stall that comes in, the better and better it starts to look. That spike is still in spawn. This is all a ruse from Loud. This is trying to pull rotates. It's not actually trying to accomplish much of anything.
Okay, Dig is in. Gatecrash back to the spike location. 2G opt not to, insert anyone over towards A main. Loud might still be forced to use the util to clear that part of the map.
I mean, timing on a re-hit would be good. The Fade is rotated away, so it's only 2 players holding.
Doing this again?
And again, look at Art and Mid. Like, Loud have found some potentially impact lurks.
They get spotted out here. Silence critical here with the Sheriff earlier on. Here's a Nightfall. This is going to slow things up.
20 seconds!
Not a lot of time to work with. And there's Silence getting rid of Vinny. The lurker there through mid. There's another one coming. I don't know if he's going to be ready for it, but it may not matter. 2G
10 seconds left.
on the precipice of doing it. In disarray, losing their leader, take their first win of Americas. In a debut for PXS. Silencing the doubters and maybe the doubt in their own minds as well.
That is unbelievable. Loud looking stunned on the other side of the stage. With the havoc of this last week in the 2G camp to come out and 2-0 the Brazilian team in Loud is just madness.
And for me, feels like a changing of the guard somewhat. This is another infusion of new blood into Americas. And these guys, this 2G team weren't even supposed to win Ascension. They were the 2nd seed from Brazil. In fact, one of the underdogs for most of the tournament up until the end. Huge faceless, big change. They dig deep, they find PXS available. Come play with them. After spending his time in Tier 2 in Brazil. Talk about a plug-and-play solution. Guys like a sea monkey, just to add water. Instant entertainment.
Crazy too. PXS not even on his normal roll. Coming in looking good.
Fitting into these elaborate Tejo Breach comps, right?
Yeah. And look, don't get me wrong, they got wild with it. There were so many moments. LZ in particular is taking these solo plays, and he was so effective throughout the day.
I mean, someone who has had to step into some big shoes and call, as well as be incredibly impactful over the course of that first map. The guy was popping off. He's a huge component of the fact that, 2G even get to this map while being ahead. And they got off to such a great start. It's Askia's moment to shine at the start of Pearl. He's 4-0, dominating Digizine on his first game on Yoru. And just when it looks like Loud are back in the game, it's a timeout. It's Faith managing to craft a strategy for this team, and the composure from this young squad is so impressive. Just like we saw in Mexico at Ascension, they display it here and get their first win.
And we're now in a situation where, hey, if they can somehow 2G take down a couple of other teams, they can start to enter the playoffs picture. At the same time, Loud, it is dire straits, starting off 0-2, dropping a series versus 2G, the projected bottom team in this group. It is now batten down the hatches and pray, because you've got to win basically everything from here on out.
Loud, you are the team, the household name, also the kryptonite of every other Brazilian team in the league up until this point. Yeah, not anymore. That's right. So what I mentioned, changing of the guard. Now, it feels so awkward for such a, a venerated team to not have their destiny for playoffs in stage 1 in their own hands. Crazy times here in the Riot Games Arena. We're going to head over to Riv down on the stage for the Verizon post-match interview with Gubera.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And it is, in fact, to talk to 2G's Gobera after they take down Loud 2-0. Years in the making, you come to this point, you're able to take down your Brazilian brethren to start off. What does it mean to see kind of everything come together here for the first win on the stage?
Depois de tanto tempo, vocês vêm para cá ganhando de 2-0 dos seus irmãos brasileiros. O que foi a caminhada até aqui?
A caminhada é sempre muito dura, sempre acompanhei eles desde o começo da franquia e tá podendo agora confrontá-los aqui no palco do VCT Américas é algo muito especial para mim e gratificante.
Well, I've been following this team forever, right? So, being here playing against them on this stage is something completely I can't even believe.
And talk to me about how the team has gotten through, the past, as we were talking to the other team, people of the team, the last 48 hours have been tough. IGL changes, teams or players coming in for role changes. How are the vibes? How do you get through this? What were the thoughts coming into today?
Eu tava falando antes com alguns outros players do time, né? E as últimas 48 horas foram bem difíceis. Trocaram de IGL, tiveram um jogador novo chegando. Como é que foi a preparação para hoje? Como é que foi a pressão de estar aqui?
Então, foi algo bem duro assim de lidar. Essa mudança foi muito rápida, então a gente botou a cabeça no lugar, continuamos trabalhando duro e deu isso. O resultado foi muito bom pra gente, a gente conseguiu colocar o nosso jogo em dia.
It was hard, of course, with all these changes. But we could, just focus on this game and bring it today, and the results are here.
Awesome. Well, 2 more questions for you. Talking about playing now with PSX on the team, a lot of clutch rounds there. How was it adding him in and having that power?
Trazendo um jogador novo para o time, né? O PXS. Como é isso? O que ele traz para o time?
Cara, ele tá trazendo uma vibe muito boa pro time. Ele consegue trazer pra gente alguns pontos que a gente acabava não tendo no time. Além da mira, o moleque é muito embaçado, provou pra ele, pra todo mundo que a gente tem potencial. A gente que tá vindo de baixo do VCB, a gente tem potencial sim pra disputar no maior alto nível.
Well, he's great, right? He has a lot of aim and he brings to the team what we were lacking. And I mean, we're coming from tier 2, so reaching this stage and bringing a strong game is really important.
And final question is about you. With this win, it's got to feel great. But what are your goals for Gobera? What are you looking to prove this split?
Claro que você está sentindo ótimo depois da vitória, mas quais são os planos para o Gobera?
Cara, os planos para mim, eu acho que a gente continuar na pegada que a gente está. A gente tá muito bem com o time. Agora o foco é para os próximos jogos, claro, e a gente busca essa vaguinha no Champions, a gente quer manter na franquia agora.
I think the focus for me, it's actually just focus on the next games, keep this moment, this pace. The team is really good, and we are looking for this spot in the Masters.
Awesome, Gobera, congrats on the win again. 2G, take a win over Loud. Aldi, thank you so much for translating. Don't go anywhere. We got more games coming up. We got C9 versus Leviathan next. Don't go anywhere.
human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.